Oh, okay. Thanks. Hello and welcome to the Pixel Scandal Nerdcast, episode 41. I'm Handor. And with me, I
End
have...
of line. Hello. Sorry.
Nightson.
Oreztes.
Alright. Then I hear that Nightson will be doing our spotlight topic.
Yeah, our spotlight topic tonight will be cheating in video games and why it will be the death of society. Or not. We'll see. Endo, do we have any announcements?
We do. 1 second. Is audio coming through okay?
Yes, audio is in fact coming through.
Okay. Making sure.
And yes, Handor is in fact casting from a shed.
Yes. From a moo cow shed. Yeah, we have a few announcements. We have our a couple streams coming up. We have our Pixel Scandal side quest. Our next episode is going to be February 23rd. Dave Kazay will be running Cruise Ship of the Damned. And then we will also have our next Dungeon World game, which will be Saturday, February 9th at 9 a.m. So if you want to catch Cruise Ship of the Damned, that'll be on the 23rd, which is a Saturday, and that'll be at 9 a.m. And then Dungeon World will be Saturday, February 9th, also at 9 a.m. Because, you know, we love coffee
Gitchin's a
and
horrible person.
rolling out of bed at 8 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday. That's what we do. We're adults. It's fine.
Obviously, we define adulting differently.
Yeah. Yeah. There's going to be a lot of people that disagree with that. But...
All right, so moving on to what we have played recently. Last weekend, myself, Gidget, Kurt, and Oreztes got together and we played some more Gloomhaven. And it was apparently marked here because no one's going to take acknowledgement of my victories, that everyone got exhausted and Gidget saved the day. Which, although true, I don't feel fully encompasses everything that happened.
Oh, probably not. It's a full-fledged RPG on a board.
Yeah, super fun game. I am thoroughly enjoying it. It is definitely one of those horrible rabbit hole games where it eats all your brain, and then that's it. And then yeah.
And then
I was waiting for us to jump in and mention anything, but I suppose not. So we're going to move on. Astroneer, who was playing that?
I played a little bit of it before it actually launched officially, and it was okay, pretty fun. And a lot of people have been playing it, so it's nothing new. But they just released it here a week ago, I think, the full game, and it's still got some bugs. Still travel from planet to planet, and be mining up in a spot, and the world doesn't know where to put you. The engine doesn't know where to put you, so it just chucks you into space and kills you instantly with no body to be able to pick up.
That's a game feature. That's not a bug.
Oh, sorry.
That sounds like a Minecraft mod.
So basically, this
You've been jettisoned.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. I had forgotten about this. Yeah, it's like a kind of a low rent Minecraft / No Man's Sky kind of thing.
Yeah. A little bit.
Looks like a hoot.
Looks cool.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. Yeah. I made a ski resort in one of the mountains.
Was there snow on this planet?
Yeah. The peaks of the mountains had snow, and while my other two friends, who unfortunately are not a part of Pixel Scandal, but we do game with quite often, maybe you'll see them one day featured in a video. Who knows? But Weasel and Raz were busy collecting resources and building things while I was
wasting them on a ski resort.
Wasting so much time and effort. Making a slide, basically.
I'd be more impressed if there was not actually any snow on your planet and you still built a ski resort.
It was Mars. And
it would definitely be par for the course for Handor here.
Yeah, it's a gas giant, but there's a ski resort on fun.
come check it out.
That's 1 ski resort and 14 Starbucks. That's literally it.
Yeah. All right, and then what has been eating up almost all of our time for the past
3
2
days.
days.
2
2
days.
days now, yeah.
Yeah.
We have all been playing Anthem. Way too much Anthem.
It's
Not
it's
enough-
amazing.
Not enough Anthem.
A
It's
lot of
actually
them.
way more amazing than I expected.
Yeah.
It is really good. It has some very deep-seated issues with, and I was mentioning this just before we went live, with how weird the city feels tacked on. It
It's-
feels like
it's
it's from a
an-
completely different game.
It's an unfun space. It doesn't add anything to the game, really.
No,
In fact, it
no.
detracts.
Yeah, let's not dismiss the fact that the dialogue and voice acting and so on and so
No,
forth
no,
is
it's-
amazing.
It's super
it's
good.
all incredible. But
But
Yeah.
the space, is
the
trash.
space is bad, and for a game that is all about I'm flying around in a robot being awesome with my friends, and the game even tells you play with your friends because you get bonus XP and loot.
Mhm.
You get more for playing with some people on your friends list. So when you then finish a mission and then you can't see any of your friends again for the next 30 minutes while everyone who's on a different quest goes and talks to the wrong NPC and talks to someone else, and then you find that you didn't talk to the right NPC, so now you have to repeat the last mission that you just did because there was no way to tell your friend to make sure that he was on the right quest, and you couldn't show them the right NPC, so you had to verbally walk them through navigating the cityscape.
An in-depth city.
Yeah,
Um,
but once everybody's done, once you hit level 30 and you're done with all the quests, you're never gonna go back in the city. You're gonna be in the launch bay the whole time. Anyway.
Yeah.
That may
I'm
make it
starting-
better. I don't mind the launch
I'm
bin. Sorry.
I'm beginning to. At first, I disagreed with a lot of what the janitor had to say in his bylaws, but I'm beginning to start to agree with a lot of what he says in his very military outlook on bylaws inside the city.
Look, one cleaning crew falls off the launch bay and breaks his rib and middle finger and both legs and all this stuff. And now all of a sudden it's training harnesses and everywhere, and you can't have puddles on the floor.
Right. No, I agree. The city needs to be cleaned up. That's all there is
Yeah,
to it.
yeah. As far as the quality of the dialogue and the quality of the interactions with the NPCs, it's BioWare. Like
Yeah,
they
it's
can do
top-notch.
no wrong in that respect.
Yeah.
It just feels weird. Though I will say, I will prefer this to no NPCs, which we got with 76, because at the very least, I found myself multiple times, and I had mentioned this before. I built, in these single player games, I build who my character is based on the reactions, my reactions to dialogue. And so you get an idea who your character is. Versus in 76, you never got that kind of option. So
Yeah,
Right.
one of the Weasel says for a game that movement is so fast outside of the city, it seems like walking slowly places in the city is weird. And I agree.
Oh, yes.
You
It's
feel
so-
sort of boxed in and weighed down.
Yeah, you do.
After you've been zooming. Yeah, so
and the other,
that's something they can fix, and they should definitely work on.
and it also feels weird. Just some of those missions are sub 10 minutes long,
Yeah,
and then it's 15 minutes a city.
yeah, it's true.
So
Good game. I think we'd
Once
all
you get-
recommend it though.
yeah, once you get in the robots, it is endless amounts of fun.
And props to BioWare. They've listened. They've, in just a week, done some pretty dramatic changes to the game to affect some issues we had with it in beta. Over the span of a week and a half or so, that's pretty unusual. And their mechanical issues like the swimming and the flying has been tightened up quite a bit. The GUI's been adjusted a little bit. They're making improvements to the UI. So they're listening. It's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
It shows good.
Like I went in, the flying was like in the beta. The flying was good. It was
good.
like, yeah, this is fun. I'm
Mhm.
enjoying this. And now it is 100 times
Oh,
better. It
feels
just feels
so smooth.
intuitive.
yeah,
Like it
does.
feels smooth. It does. You feel if you crash into a wall, it's your own death.
It is your fault. You can cut
Yeah.
U-turns right now almost while you're flying.
Oh,
it feels
is
good.
beautiful. Like
Yeah.
I have never before wanted to, and now this is gonna bug me for the rest of my life going through standard MMOs or games or whatnot. And I'll go into a dungeon. I'm like, why can't I just jet down this hall and weave through, slalom through this dungeon to get to where I want to be? because
Yeah.
you can in Anthem, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we need to wrap this up so we can go play. So
So this will be the 10-minute episode of the Nerdcast. So, we could...
cheating bad, and that's it. Have a good night, everybody.
There's one more thing to add to this topic, and it's not necessarily something we played, but something Kurt played. Kurt did his lighthearted game over at Orcon this weekend, and they posted the VOD up online if you didn't catch it live. I'm going to go ahead and put it in chat and make sure it's in the YouTube description as well. But if you want to check out Lighthearted, Kurt's been talking about it quite frequently, and he played it live at the convention where Happy Jacks is doing live streams of a lot of their, I think all of their Happy Jacks official games.
Not all of them, but they had a room. They had a room all day. I think it amounted to about a third to a half of all of the games they were involved in. So,
and not to speak ill of the other games at the Strategicon Orcon games, but I think most people would agree that the Happy Jack centric games tend to be like the highlights of the con. Like they're the ones you want to get into. So if you haven't been there and you haven't played any of the Happy Jacks games, it's an amazing opportunity for you to kind of check it out. And you could do that from the Happy Jacks Twitch channel. And I'm going to post Lighthearted Twitch in chat, and we'll put it on YouTube. So if you want to check that out, Kurt and Gidget are over there right now, probably 3 sheets to the wind. Probably drunk off their ass.
Alcohol may increase the effects. That's all we have to say.
We hope so anyway. They deserve it.
Yeah. And I believe this actually is the first time he's ever played his actual new rule set
outside of the playtest, right?
Yeah, outside of the playtest with us. So if you're curious about all the words we've been saying about Lighthearted, you can check it out. I think we may just break it out and do some more discussion on it next week, or soon.
Well, he'll definitely want to speak to how the games went next weekend. So I'm sure we'll have a follow up to that.
All right. So if nobody has anything else to add, we can move on to the spotlight, which is cheating in video games.
Yeah, it's a pretty broad topic. Cheating has existed forever, right?
Yeah, like even from hell back in the. I remember my first example of what could be constitute cheating would be like Metroid on the NES, putting in Justin Bailey.
Yep.
and running around with basically all the best equipment in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a very different experience than anyone who's played the original Metroid or anything that's like Metroid, where you start with nothing, you slowly build it up. So being able to go, oh, I've got this cheat code and I put that in, and completely not knowing it was supposed to be Samus San's suit, and all the backstory of that cheat. But so cheating's been around forever.
Yeah.
The Konami code.
Yeah, it's in our description for the Twitch stream right now. The Konami code.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So the first thing let's talk about is why do people cheat? So what do you guys think? Why do people even feel compelled to use cheats that are available to them? We'll talk about the variety of ways you can cheat, but why do people do it?
I think on at least one level, it's an additional difficulty slider. It is it's a difficulty slider you can use at any point in time in the game if something is not working for you, or you just want to get through this.
I want to get through this. Sorry, we just got hit with a copyright.
Don't worry, nobody identified.
I actually know that song.
And so you'll find that like a lot of games recently are doing on the fly difficulty sliders.
Mm-hmm.
For that exact reason, because you get into an encounter, you chose 10 hours ago that I think I'm gonna play this game on hard because I feel that I'm good enough, and then you get 10 hours into the game and you're like, holy shit, this was way harder than I expected.
You hit a wall.
Yeah, either I never touch this game again, I spend 30 hours of my life getting good enough to accomplish it,
or you restart on normal from scratch.
Yeah, or I throw the game away.
Yeah.
And so it if that isn't an option, cheat codes allow you to bypass that part that may not have been play tested thoroughly, might not be completely balanced. You might not be physically capable of doing.
I'm trying to think of a game I played recently because that brings up an interesting thing, and I can't remember what game it was. But I was playing it and I died like 3 times in a row on an encounter, and it said, "Hey, bro, looks like you're having some trouble on this. Would you like me to lower the difficulty for you?" And I was like, "Oh, fuck you, game."
Yeah, that was one of the earlier ways of doing that, where the game comes up, it's like, "Hey, you want us to hook you up?"
Yeah.
And inevitably the response is always, "Fuck you, no." How dare you give me pity?
I'm joking. I mean, it was cool though, and I wish I could remember what game it was, but I hadn't seen that before in a game where
Ninja Gaiden was the first one I saw that in.
Ninja Gaiden, yeah.
Doesn't one of the new Super Marios do that, where if you die so many times in a level, it gives you something? Or
I think that gives you the star or something. Or
no idea.
One of Super Mario does that. Yeah, I mean, when I cheat on video games, it's because for one of 2 reasons. One, either I've already beat the game and I'm just playing through it again just to screw around with it.
Yep.
Or 2, I'm really just interested in the story and I don't care about the gameplay mechanics.
Yeah, you want that difficulty slider, you're turning to 0.
Yeah, so it's just like, just give me all the best stuff. I want to power through the combat that I don't really care about just so I can get to the cutscenes.
Yeah, what you mentioned though with the "I'm done with the game" is one of the biggest things I've always liked about cheating. The really interesting cheat codes or interesting options, it can really breathe life into a game after you've beaten it.
Yeah.
Yep.
What happens if I can throw this cow to the moon?
Skyrim is really.
Yeah, the entire Elder Scrolls is my biggest example of, let's see how broken we can make this if we just start making our own custom spells.
Or like Grand Theft Auto. Doing that Grand Theft Auto, just get all the weapons. It's just like, all right, let's get 5 stars and see how much of the city I can destroy.
Yeah.
So what are the benefits and the cons to cheating? We just spoke to one benefit for sure, and that it adds content. We had talked about mods a few weeks ago. We had a whole episode on modifications to games, and I don't know if you necessarily classify it as a cheat. Certain mods certainly can give you benefits to the game that you wouldn't otherwise have that could constitute an aspect of cheating. But those certainly can breathe new life into a game that you've already exhausted, and now you're just squeezing more value out of the experience.
Mm-hmm. In a broad strokes definition of cheating, I would just say cheating is anything that the designer did not intend the game to be played as.
Sure.
So, but by that, mods are in fact cheating. But cheating isn't inherently bad.
Mm-hmm.
Loading up your Minecraft with 30 new mods so you're not playing the same, I cut down a tree, I build a base out of dirt, and suddenly you're flying to the moon, or you're doing any number of weird stuff that's in all the modded games.
See, that's where I guess this is where you and I actually had an argument. Because I didn't understand the concept of how can adding difficulty to, even though it is a modification, you're essentially at the very base of the term and the definition of it, you're modifying a game to do something that it wasn't intended to do. But I don't know that I don't know that I agree that I clarify that as I'm not so locked into the idea that is cheating.
I agree with you, Handor. I think it depends on what the mod does, and it's purely subjective. Like, if I installed a mod that said, hey, this mod gives you 20 hearts in Minecraft instead of 10 hearts instead of Minecraft. If that's all the mod does, it's a mod, but it's a cheat. If it's a mod that paints your sword and gives you other paint colors to Minecraft, that's just a mod. It's not really a cheat. I think you kind of have to weigh what the modification does. If it adds difficulty, but it also adds quality of life and things that make the game a little easier, does it balance itself off enough to where you feel like the difficulty is kind of the same as it would have been if you played normal? But I think it's completely subjective. But I see what you're saying. There's certainly mods that I would never classify as a cheat. Turning fish into cows is not a cheat. It's a mod.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe you are you ran out of leather.
Go.
But no, like an example of a difficulty mod that I could think of or a difficulty increase that I would still classify as a cheat. Like if you look at the Halo series, they've always had the skulls, which are flags you can turn onto your game to make your game insanely hard.
Well,
turning off reticles, reducing
that unlocks a cheat.
Yeah, and they're unlocking cheats, and those are difficulty. There's nothing in those skulls.
But those are in the game, so those are intended by the developer. So is it a cheat at all?
Well, so are cheat codes.
But those aren't just in the game. You don't know. No, they aren't. Show me in Contra where it tells you to press up, up, down, down, left, right, BA start.
Well,
no.
The skulls are all hidden. You have to find them.
Well, I know, but I'm just saying, most games, those cheat codes, those console codes, are not something you can find in natural play. Like, it's something you have to scour the internet for. People have to look in the actual code of the game.
I don't know. In 007, you could turn on golden guns once you unlock it.
So here's the thing. So what we're getting into is a territory of what a lot of comics go over, and that's intent, right? So it's the intent of a developer, and what we see in a lot of the ADDQ speed runs is you see people finding things in places where they can clip, and they can do this and get to places faster, right? It may not be intended by developers for the access to those certain areas, but they're in the game just the same. So
out of bounds is cheating.
But we're talking about intention here, right? Isn't that what?
I don't disagree with you. I think intent is important. How you are using what you're doing is certainly important in the context of whether it's a cheat or not. But things like going out of bounds in a game to circumvent a natural pathway is 100% a cheat. Like, I don't think that's an opinion thing. I think that's an understood fact.
That's something that's classified as an exploit, and all exploits
or cheats.
Yeah.
Whether they give you intent meaning does that exploit give you a benefit or not? There's tons of bugs and exploits in games that do bad things, not necessarily good things. Doesn't mean it's a cheat. That's just a bug. But if there's an exploit or a vulnerability in the environment that you can exploit to circumvent something or get something you shouldn't, totally a cheat.
Now,
Super Metroid. You could do Super Metroid like 800 fucking pathways based on all the bugs in that game. And it makes the game 1,000 times more interesting than it already was, which is amazing. But, you can watch these speedrunners bust that game, completely break it, just a million different ways. Those are still cheats.
Yeah. No, don't get me wrong. I don't think these are bad things. Cheating for the purposes of breathing life into a game, for whatever reason, or to make someone have more fun,
sure.
Fuck it. By all means.
Hey, speedrunning!
Yes.
Exploits are the heart of speedrunning, exploiting games, and it's so much fun to watch people break these games.
I will never watch another Ocarina of Time speedrun after watching.
Why, dude?
After watching what?
Cosmo?
Dude, they've shrunk it even more since Cosmo's World Record, by the way. A few times. Yeah. There's new tech coming out from that game every few months. It's just absolutely bizarre.
The first Portal blows me away. What people are doing, man.
Yeah. All those out of bounds portals. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It's pretty nuts.
It's.
Pixel perfect shots. Yeah.
It blows my mind, and they're doing the whole thing backwards.
What's better is pixel perfect shots that you can't even see.
Yeah.
I know.
It's complete blind.
Yeah.
So what are the cons? So those are the benefits, but there's some cons too.
There are some definitely cons. You don't see the experience. Ultimately, you don't see the experience the developer intended, which could lead to people having negative impressions of a game.
Yep.
Because they didn't enjoy it as much, or they weren't fulfilled by the experience.
Let me ask you guys a question. How many times have you guys installed a PC game and you installed a trainer or something for it, and you gave yourself all the power-ups and shit, and then after you got that all set up and you got your character and you're playing the game with all the power-ups, you just suddenly found yourself not having a good time because of the cheats, and it kind of ruined the game for you?
Yeah.
I've had that happen to me a few times. Where I kind of hosed myself in the experience for doing it, and I regretted it horribly.
Oh, Weasel, a trainer, or anyone who's listening, a trainer is basically a pre-built memory modification for a game that changes various stats. It's someone who's done all the work for you to figure out that this particular memory location it controls your health. This one is your strength. This one's your stamina. And so you can literally go in and go click, click, click. Oh, I have 99 strength, 99 stamina.
They're all. It's based on data values within that memory, and then they're able to manipulate those.
I refuse to use trainers. I downloaded Cheat Engine. If I want to cheat and I can't figure out how to do it myself, I don't cheat.
Well, Cheat Engine is a trainer. It's just a trainer with a library of games. But it's
no, Cheat Engine is no.
It's
Cheat
still
Engine
writing to memory.
Is the pre-trainer.
Yeah.
Is what is built off of what they figure out with Cheat Engine, basically, or it's not. Never mind. I won't get into this. No point making that distinction.
Cheat Engine, you load the process into memory, and then you manually edit values.
Or you have people who tell you what values they've already found, like a trainer does.
Yeah, but that's boring. Don't do that. Do it yourself. Earn it. Earn your cheats. Earn your unlimited health.
I will say this. Speaking of trainers, one of the cons of cheating, at least in PC games, is sometimes those applications that you're downloading to cheat with are shady as fuck. And you need to be super duper careful because you might be downloading a delicious little virus to gobble up your computer.
I mean, as far as I'm concerned, for me personally, my personal opinion is, if you're cheating on a single player game, have fun, go nuts. GLHF. I not possibly care any less.
Yeah.
If you're cheating on a multiplayer game, that's when it's like, well, wait a minute, what are you doing exactly, and are you willing to share?
Well, that brings us to another. that brings us to the next topic. When and where is cheating a problem? Yeah, I certainly think that multiple games are certainly going to be a pretty big one.
Yeah, which is funny because there are certain cheats that multiplayer communities have actually agreed on that are legit, and they're just like it's
a quality of life. We all want this.
These are so prevalent. Everyone has access to this.
Yeah.
So you know what? It's not cheating anymore. Everyone just does it.
World of Warcraft add-ons. Back when World of Warcraft came out, and they decided that they were going to allow API hooks for add-ons. They had no idea what was really going to happen. Yeah, they had no idea that people were going to literally spend months coding add-ons to add functionality to the game. And at some point, they had a very difficult decision, I imagine. Do we shut this down, or do we allow it and just try and control it? But it added a lot of things to WoW that otherwise would have made the game a lot more difficult.
What was it?
And unfun.
Decursive?
Decursive was a fucking cheat. Yeah, for reals.
Yeah.
That was the big one that they were like, no, we're not allowing that.
That was the first one that you'd give.
Yeah.
And it was just decurse, not decursive. Just decurse, I think.
Yeah, decursive is still alive and well, but decurse is right. It would automatically. You didn't have to do anything. It would just see a curse and it would automatically decurse it. So the mages just sit in the right. Yeah, and mages would do it, right? I think mages had decurse back then.
Mages had
Shadow Priest.
Yeah.
It wouldn't just be for curses. It would be also like all other D-spells. So paladins used to run it too.
I thought Shadow Priest ran it too.
Probably.
I don't remember. I know mages did because I played a mage.
I didn't do too much raiding in those days. So.
And I ran decurse because I had to in Molten Core. It was required.
Yeah, I did. This is gives the viewers an idea. I raided. Vanilla pretty hardcore, 40 man. So
yeah, and it's funny because things like this, truth be told, probably showed Blizzard more than anything else. Like, holy crap, we have created something incredibly unfun.
Yeah,
and that's why you saw a lot of class tweaks going into Burning Crusade, because they had created content that was more fun to press a button and then do this and walk away from your computer for a 10-minute raid encounter than to actually participate.
Yeah, that's all you did. I think Baal something or other. I don't remember the fight, but that's all I would do is I would turn decurse on, and that was all I was supposed to do the entire encounter was just decurse.
Well, and it would cost that much mana to do anyways.
Yeah.
Through an entire fight.
Now,
5-minute fight.
Let's talk about competitive multiplayer games. Let's talk about games like Counter-Strike and Overwatch and things where it is a player versus player and using cheats.
Yeah, I hate PvP and all things PvP related, so anytime anybody wants to do anything to ruin a PvP community, I'm all for it. So wall
So
hacks,
Oreztes is
aimbots,
totally pro cheat.
I love.
Let's
I
burn
love
this
wall
mother
hacks.
down.
I love wall hacks and aimbots in Counter Strike. You heard it here first.
He's the only one. Look, he's the only one that feels that way in this cast.
What?
He does,
What?
not, he does not speak. He does not speak for Pixel Scandal.
Well, let's first talk about what does that mean. What is Mike talking about? Aimbots and all that. What is that?
Okay. An aimbot allows an individual to every single time he pulls up crosshairs, it's going to crosshair on an individual that's in sight. Now, if you have wall hacks along with an aim hack, now you're able to, every single time you pull up crosshairs, you're able to not only shoot people that are within a 360 visual, you're able to shoot people through walls that are in a 360 visual, automatically targeting headshots. So the program will automatically head target, and then you just pull the trigger.
And if you think that this is probably something that doesn't happen a lot, let me tell you, there have been people in professional $100,000
Yeah.
matches get banned for aimbotting in
Yep.
a competitive match. You can go Google it or
Because-
YouTube it.
Because-
During a televised.
Yeah.
Yep. Because
Yeah.
what they've learned to do is they've learned to tone down the amount of snap to aim,
Yeah.
so it looks more natural.
And they toggle it on and off hot.
Yeah. Or
Well,
they're
truth
just
be
good
told-
enough. Or they're just good enough that like they're legit, good enough that they do have the reactions and the accuracy and stuff, and they just
Some
turn on
people-
hitboxes, and then you could see when the guys are coming around the corner and just shoot them.
Yeah. Sometimes it is difficult to tell, like at the highest level. You go back and watch videos of like Siegel and Overwatch and stuff like that, and you're like, no way, this guy's like, he's a hacker all the way through. But they've never caught him hacking. They've never found any software or anything like that.
That's the fun of this new Twitch world, where so many of these people who would have got away with it constantly are now getting caught on their very
Yeah.
own streams, not realizing that they are televising to
Oh yeah.
100,000 viewers right now.
Well, do you
Show
guys
them.
remember when that cheat for H1Z1 came up? And
Yeah.
there was a streamer that accidentally showed the cheat on his screen, and there happened to be a Daybreak person watching the stream who banned him hot at 8 p.m.
yep.
at 9. And like 30 seconds later, bam, you've been banned. And the guy was in Twitch saying, "Yo, bro, don't do this shit." I mean, that's hilarious.
Yeah, there's videos out there of people streaming on Twitch, and it's been a couple times they've been banned hot like that, and you'll get two different reactions. One is
My roommate installed this trainer on my computer. What did you do, Joe?
The explosive, like instantly come up with excuses
I
and
let
lies, and
someone
then you
use
get
my computer.
and then you get the other reaction of, well, damn, sorry guys, it's been a good run. See you around.
Yeah.
And I just lost my train of thought. Damn it! I'm now Handor.
So-
It
and then, I was gonna say, and then it depends on it. For me, it depends on the type of game. Also, like if it's co-op and you're cheating, it's like, okay, that's not cool. If it's strictly a co-op game and you're cheating, it's like I don't really understand the point of that. It's like, why would you want to cheat in a co-op game? It's like fudging a dice and
to show up your friends.
D&D. Yeah, but I mean that's why I'm like,
It's
I
the
don't
same
care.
reason people fudge dice in D&D.
Yeah, so it's like if we were all playing Anthem and one of you guys got a trainer that's like, oh, just one shot, kill everything, I'd be like, cool, Grandmaster 3, are we doing this? I mean, I'm gonna get the loot too. So,
Yeah, it reminds me of the days in like Payday 2 where when hacking was so rampant in that people would come into those games and they'd be like, just start pouring money bags from the sky.
Mhm.
You're like,
What was that one? There was one cheat in Payday 2 where you played the guy that would like you'd charm everyone, and it would have like an infinite radius, so the guy would zone in, and just all of a sudden everyone would be like pacified.
oh yeah.
I was like, I watched a game and I was like, what's going on? Like no one's aggressive, and they were all just like automatically laying on the ground like tied and charmed or whatever. And he's like, oh, I gotta cheat, bro.
Weasel brought up an awesome point, which is I think maybe all of us would agree that this is pretty fantastic. He says I like that some of the ways that developers are dealing with cheaters, having or hearing about sticking cheaters that play Dark Souls into a list so that they can invade other cheaters.
Yeah.
Which is an awesome idea. Take Modern Warfare 2 and all that bullshit and let those guys just kill each other.
Sony had a very interesting way of dealing. I mean, Sony of all people had a very interesting way of dealing with cheaters with EverQuest. I don't know if you guys do this, but in EverQuest 2, if you were caught cheating, they actually created a server specifically for cheaters, so they could still collect your subscription fee. You just weren't allowed to play with non-cheaters. So they would shuffle you onto a server with just other cheaters. It's pretty funny. Pretty funny.
Back in UO, I got caught AFK macroing a few times and wound up in jail.
Which everyone did.
Yeah.
Like, let's be real. Everyone, and that's why they would just give you like a little quick.
Yeah.
They jail you for a few hours or whatever. Everyone did that.
Yeah.
Another thing where players invented a solution for an unfun, poorly developed system in a video game.
Like I would come back from work and be like, "Well, this doesn't look like my bug."
Yep.
Oh, eat by eating.
Yep. It's like I hope I can get back to it.
Yeah. I was there a few times mining.
Yep.
Yep.
Mining wasn't so bad though, because mining you couldn't really carry that much. So after 20 minutes of mining, your bags were full. So you were just dropping endless amounts of iron ore on the ground.
Yeah. Mine just basically it set an axis on the wall, the program, and then it would walk you up a wall, and then it would walk you down a wall, and it would walk you up a wall, and then walk you down a wall, and just click along. I made a big mistake one day though, because there was actually a cave entrance, and I think I got eaten by a dragon. So
Hey, Gidget.
I got lazy. I was tired.
No. Yeah. So, in summation, cheating is fine. It's welcome in co-op games, and it's welcome in PvP games for different reasons.
Or more accurately, if you don't want to see the world burn, I think that at the end of the day, cheating is a method for you to get the experience out of a game that you might not have been given. But it's important to remember that it was not the intended experience. And don't ruin anyone else's experience.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's get into the kinds of cheats now. We had mentioned a few options, and we also have a section where we're talking about the devices we use to cheat. And I want to speak specifically to one Mike put first off. That was definitely the first one I ever used, was the Galoob. Yes, Galoob.
Yep.
Game Genie for the NES. Now, this one was really special because back then, games were a lot harder, I would personally say, than they are now. There were certain games where, unless you were a savant, you almost couldn't get through without cheating. And it allowed me and my friends, we would rent these games where we would play them and couldn't get through them. But we could rent them, use the Game Genie, and get through them and see all of the game. All the story, get to the ending, and do that thing. And the Game Genie was amazing for that.
If you were 10, not Game Genie, but if you were 10, and you told me that you beat Contra without the
30,
you're a liar.
I would call bullshit.
You are a liar, sir.
Yep, I would call bullshit.
Or Battletoads.
If you beat Battletoads even with cheats, I call you a liar.
I did beat Battletoads without a cheat.
So did I, but that was
the racing stage was the only impossible part of the game.
Yeah, and it's only the first one actually was all right. It was the second one that was a nightmare.
Ninja Turtles? Admit I never beat Ninja Turtles, the original Ninja Turtle games, without Game Genie. I got as far as the second Overland Zone, but I could never get past the second swim part or kill Mecha Shredder or whatever his name was. So I had to cheat that one.
Not to mention, it was such a game, like we talked about wound-based systems and hit points, and how you slowly, it was just, it started an inevitable death because you just started getting worse and worse. So you would start the game with Donatello and actually be good.
Yeah.
And then as you got to worse and worse turtles, your deaths just came faster and faster and faster until you were Michelangelo and you had an attack box about a pixel from your sprite.
I wonder, has anybody here beat Mike Tyson's Punch-Out?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I actually did beat that as a kid. After a million hours of trying.
Yeah.
What is it? 001.
005.
005?
I think so.
Okay, yeah, 005. Yeah, no. It's
Justin-
gone too long.
Justin Bailey.
Yeah.
I remember Justin Bailey.
Oh, sorry. 007-373-5963. So it's 007.
Sure.
Yeah. The one that always sticks out into my head, the one I used the most because when I was a kid I played this game more than I would ever like to admit, was Castlevania 2. And I don't know why, but this is imprinted in my brain. GW5GYUEI V5I
Fuck those
HRCM. Yeah, but that one was just one stuck in my head, and I don't think that that's one like an internet one. That's just one me and my cousin Byron happened to like get playing through the game, and we always wanted to go and like beat the game, and so it's stuck in our head. But you'd learn these codes. Mega Man 2, I think. You'd memorize those codes for that one, and you could find. There was no internet back then. I think that's another big thing. Like that's another reason the Game Genie thing was so cool, because they gave you this big book of all the games you can imagine, all the codes they have found.
Essentially.
And they did such a good job with that thing. It worked so well. This blew me away.
I used to love doing like when it came to Super Nintendo, and you would get like Nintendo Power, and people would just send in letters with random codes. Like for Super Mario World, I spent so much time just putting random numbers and letters in there just to see what would happen. It was like an intro into memory editing.
Yeah. And then, of course, from Game Genie, we got Game Shark, which was the 16-bit edition.
Yep.
Oh, the Game Shark.
I never owned a Game Shark. So
I never did either. Yeah, I never did either.
I loved it. I had a Game Shark for my PS1, like one of the original ones, the 9001 models, and you would plug it into the back into the I/O port of your PlayStation. There was like a little on the back on the right side. There was a little thing you could pop off, stick your Game Shark in there. Well, the Game Shark 3.0 had a 13-pin parallel adapter you could hook to your computer, and you could use it to like transfer game saves.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, it was amazing. I love that thing.
I had the
It
Game
like, a
Genie
viewer on it.
for Super Nintendo 2 because it works so well on the NES. I got the one for the SNES too.
Yeah.
It's just like it'd go in and then you'd put the game on top of it. It was just like
Yep.
I remember that.
Yeah, the Game Shark was amazing. It had like a media player, so you could pop in a CD and it would play the music off the CD, like the soundtracks for the games and stuff. Some of them. Yeah, it was awesome. That thing was slick.
Now Dreamcast, you mentioned Dreamcast. This was definitely the most interesting one, and I don't know if I would classify it as I won't mention that. It's not really a cheat, but I was going to talk about the the soldered chip you could do to your PlayStation 1 so that it wouldn't check DRM on a PlayStation.
I modded my PS1 so I could play Thrill Kill.
Yeah, same thing. Same here. I remember I used to... Oh, something happened. Sorry. Yeah, so we all had those, and I remember I don't do this, kids. I used to go to the game store and we used to rent PlayStation 1 games, and I had a burner because I actually worked at the time when I went to high school, and so I saved up and bought myself a CD burner. And I remember I used to mod PlayStation 1s for people. I'd buy a PlayStation 1 from Walmart, and then I would mod it, and if I would fuck it up, I'd bring it back and say it was broken and get a replacement for it. And then I would sell it for like an extra $150 to someone with the mod chip in it, and then I would sell the games for like $5 a pop.
And what's the statute of limitations on that?
What's the statute?
I was well under the age of 18 at the time, thank goodness. But that was my hustle. There were people selling drugs. I was slinging that PlayStation 1 and modded PS1s.
No, I had a modded PS1, and then I worked at GameStop. Before it was GameStop, it was Software Etc. And then Newegg bought it, and then GameStop bought it. Not Newegg. Egghead Software. It was
Yeah.
software.
Yeah.
They're running
Okay.
computer
Yep.
software.
Ours was Babbage's, I think.
Yeah, yeah. So I worked at uh, the game store in '99 when the Dreamcast came out, and that's how I knew about the Pro Action Replay for Dreamcast. But yeah, they were like, "All right, it's your job to know these games, so go ahead and take these games home and play them at home, and then just bring them back, and we'll re-shrink wrap them in the back and sell them as new." So that is how I got a very large library of burned PlayStation 1 games that summer, or that fall, I should say. It was in
Yep.
September. But yeah, and then we were selling the Dreamcast, and then the Pro Action Replay for the Sega Dreamcast that you could use as a boot disc, because
That
Sega
was
and
not intended at
their
all.
Infinite Wisdom decided that you could open up the tray without it screwing with
The
the
Saturn did
disc.
that too, actually.
It did.
Yeah, so you just pop your Pro Action Replay in there, get it started up, pick start game, take it out, put your burned game in there. It's like, oh, look at that, it works.
Yep. It did its check at post, and then it would never check again.
Yep.
Those were the days.
Yeah. And then we move on to like PC more style. We have, as we discussed earlier, Cheat Engine. And for those who aren't familiar, Cheat Engine is basically a direct method of modifying memory. You can search for values, and depending on how the game is made, you might literally be able to go, all right, well, I have $1,006 right now, so I put in 1006 and search for that a memory address that contains that value, and then go, oh, all right, found it, 1006, let's make 9999. All of a sudden I have $10,000.
Yep.
Most games nowadays are a little more discreet about how they work. They have multiple memories segments that access the same point.
Loading points.
Yeah.
Pain in the butt. Stop doing that.
But you still find trainers for any game out there.
Yeah.
If it's a AAA title, I guarantee you. I mean, not an online one. Like, online games are smart enough now to make sure that most of those
They're not.
transactions are most online games relatively have those kinds of values stored server side. So it's a database value on the service, not necessarily on the local client.
Most online games
circumvent
now are
that.
smart enough to hide their cheats on paid forums.
I remember, like for an example, Division 1, you mentioned storing server-side values. They stored such things like ammo count client-side, which is on your personal PC. And so by running Cheat Engine and finding the memory value that contained your assault rifle bullets, you could push a button that locked your assault rifle bullets at 30.
All
And
right.
you could fire them forever.
So do they do
So
any kind
silly.
of like cheat detection or anything like that? They don't have any way of checking like that you've hooked into the service or the
Some do. At this was Division 1 beta, so this was what, 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago?
3 years, I'd say.
Yeah, and it was a lot of what hurt Division go live, because there was so much rampant cheating during their beta test that they kind of had to build in cheat detection and move a lot of these client-side values server-side.
People were using that, what was the name of that gold something or other SMG that would reduce the cooldown of your special? And people would have infinite bullets. And so they would infinitely shoot you and have cooldowns up every, 4 seconds. So they were impossible to kill. It's like a gold SMG or gold Uzi or something like that. Every time you'd hit a target, it would reduce the cooldown of your primary bullet.
Is that a PvP thing?
Yeah,
I
I mean,
it's both a PvP and a PvE thing.
yeah. You
Fair
take
play.
it into the dark zone and just be unkillable. As long as if you could hit a target, they couldn't kill you. You just keep using Team Link or whatever it was called.
Yeah.
All right. That's another reason why PvP.
I had that gun, and then they nerfed it right after. Gordon was like, Nightson was like, oh, you find that weapon, that thing's amazing for you, because I was playing support. And then 2 days later, they're like, yeah, that thing's overpowered, and they just nerfed it into the ground. It was so sad.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard that's what they were planning on doing with the Devastator and Anthem, but they haven't yet. I'm still getting.
I don't think they need to. The ammo's too small for it.
Yeah, still getting 15,000 crits on weak spots with it.
Jesus. Yeah, but also ultimately it comes down to like just even though the cheat engine is super powerful and trainers are super powerful for doing this, even if you can make them work, all modern online games will catch you eventually.
Sure.
So sure, you may have fun ruining someone else's day, but yeah, if we're talking a $60 copy of something, you're probably going to lose it. And the developer's going to laugh all the way to the bank.
Yep.
Yeah, which
So-
is why I only cheat on free-to-play MMOs.
Cheating, I think cheating in general, I think we all kind of agree cheating is okay when used responsibly and if it does not detract from someone else's experience.
Yeah,
Right.
If you cheat on your own game, it's your game, go nuts. But if
Do
it's
you-
going to affect someone else, you're kind of a dick. You shouldn't do that.
Yeah, cheating is like meth. You can do it yourself all you want until you start affecting others.
Weasel, I
We're
don't think
still
any
in
of
life.
us.
Okay.
I don't think any of us would even have any. I don't think we've ever cried a single tear over, somebody losing a Blizzard account or being locked out of Blizzard entirely, for that matter.
I think it depends on how egregious the cheat is.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, I think it depends on. I think it depends on how the level of the cheat. Like, are you using something in PvP arena that makes you invulnerable to dying? Yeah, that's a ban.
Well, you see, now you're. It's funny that you instantly cling to that, because that's another scenario in which thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars are being poured into like arena battles and tournaments. So
Sure.
Not anymore.
Yeah, still more.
Not
Wow,
by
still
Blizzard.
more.
Yeah,
Still
still
more.
Blizzard, just not Heroes of the Storm. WoW
Yeah,
Arena
be
is
careful.
still just as big as it always was,
And
Yeah, it's-
Overwatch.
which is not that terribly big to be honest.
And Overwatch.
Overwatch is still huge.
Yeah.
Yeah. As far as like Blizzard goes, yeah. Actually, I you're not going to get too many tears from me if you do something horrible and your account gets. My only real issue with that is in the case of like Steam, if you do like friends and family lend your games out, you can be responsible for their VAC bans,
Yeah.
which is kind of sucks.
But how else would you handle that?
Yeah, I don't know if there's a better way. I just, I am saddened by it. Let's put it that way. Hasn't happened to me or anyone else I know, but I could imagine a situation where I have lended my titles out to my nephew or something, and my nephew's an asshole, and all of a sudden I now.
And you've just lost your nephew as a fan of the Pixel.
But
Gun.
do you lose your entire Steam library?
No.
Is that one
Just
That's
that
how-
game. No, they don't do that anymore. They haven't done
well,
that for
no,
a very
okay.
long time.
I'm going off of what I remember
Yeah.
reading years ago. So if they've updated, then yeah, if they kill that one game, then that's
Mhm.
unfortunate, but them's the breaks. But
Yeah.
to kill my whole library, that would make me sad.
Yeah, because it's going to be very expensive to replace my whole Steam library if somebody were to get my account banned.
I
No.
think all of us have a pretty extensive Steam library.
The only time I've ever heard of anyone in the recent years getting their entire Steam account banned was someone found an exploit on the store page
So they
to
were
buy
hacking
a
forward.
game, refund a game, and they were actually able to get money back. Which
Wow.
I mean, like they were getting money for
Yeah.
using this exploit. That's the only few people or a bunch of people that I've heard of that have gotten their full accounts banned and lost everything. It's an individual game basis now.
Okay,
With
that's fine.
that online service, they don't give a shit about you cheating on a client game. Like, what do they care?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So basically, don't be an asshole and don't use Starry Night bombs.
yeah, I guess that is technically cheating.
I will say though, if you enjoy, if you are a fan of achievements, there is a program that you could download that will you use it on your Steam account, and it loads games processes in this little application. Doesn't actually load the game. It just loads a process that makes Steam think that game is running, so it unlocks achievements for you for that game for playing, even if you've never installed it. And I will say that for you fans of Payday, all of their masks are tied to achievements.
So I never told you guys this, but when the Resident Evil 2 demo came out, they only allowed you to play it for 60 minutes. And after that 60 minutes was up, you'd get an achievement, and that is what locked it from being able to play again.
Oh, that's all it was?
That's all it was. I downloaded Cheat Engine, found the memory value, found it online where it was. You would disable the achievement, go back into the game. I played through it like 14 times. So it was all done through a stupid Steam achievement.
How much of the demo was actually there? Like, how much of the game was actually there?
It was up until you found the first 3 medallions, I think. So it was about an hour. Maybe it was the first 2 medallions. I can't remember. A good bit though, enough to make me like have difficulty sleeping until it came out because I was so excited. Yeah, I love that game. I love that game so much. Yeah. So, I think that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I've said my piece.
Cheating can be fun. Just be responsible with it. Definitely
Don't be an
definitely don't advise you to cheat on games that you feel like you might actually enjoy. You may think that it may make it more fun, but in my personal experience, I found that using cheats when you're starting to play a game is actually going to sour it for you more often than not. So I would not use it unless you absolutely have to.
Yep, I'd agree.
All right. Nightson, where can people find us on the internet?
As always, you can find us at pixelscandal.com where we post all of our goodies. If you have any comments or questions, you can always email us at pixelscandal@gmail.com. We are at pixelscandal on Twitter and the Instagrams and probably a few other places. And we post our podcast usually on Mondays every week, so this one and all of our previous ones on iTunes, Spotify, etc. With the long weekend, it might get delayed a day, but I don't know.
It depends on how hungover Gidget is on Monday.
Yeah, that really is going to play into it very heavily.
All right. Thanks for watching, everybody.
All right.
Yep.
Good night. Oreztes loves you.
I'm gonna go play Anthem.